Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 202. Today is Monday, January 4th. It is a new age of Aquarius. Some of you have been correcting me saying, James, the moon is in Sagittarius. Or it's probably not Sagittarius. The moon is in something, James. It's not Aquarius. And those are correct. I should have specified that this is the first... last was the first full moon in the age of Aquarius, even though the moon itself was in a different house. Don't even get me started on all that. If we had like real science in school, we could study the luminaries and their positioning, but we can't do that. Instead, we have what's called astronomy, where we listen to CGI people in wheelchairs tell you what's up. And they explain to you that because they are so smart, there's no way any of it will make sense, and people bought it. And when people were trying to read special relativity, they were like, this makes no fucking sense at all. And they're like, yeah, no, it's because it's hard. And all it took was that first guy to go, yeah, I think the reason why this doesn't make any sense is because it's retarded, not because it's hard. And that never happened. And that requires a certain oomph. If you remember that during that time, 100 scientists spoke out against special relativity. And it's funny because the science page and all these other scientismists will actually cite that as being, well, it proves that the scientific method doesn't conform to consensus. Guys, literally 100 scientists said all of this is bullshit. Every single thing that we've been told is complete bullshit. Anyway, this is old news. All of this is old news. Hey, if anyone out there has my text and you want to text me and tell me I'm on the air, that would be really helpful. Just send me a text and I'll know, make sure volume's okay and stuff like that. This is episode 202 and I wanted to stop my live streams. Excuse me, at episode 201. And I still think I'm going to do that. Not because I want to stop live streaming, but because I want to change things up a little bit. Today's a perfect example. I wasn't quite ready. Actually, I think I am ready. It's okay. Let's see. Are there even... Maybe no one's even watching the show. Fuck. Could it be that just no one's online? Holy shit. Could it be that no one's online? Okay, great. All right, great. Now everybody's good. Cool. So... Oh, I'm glad you made it for the sneeze. I appreciate. I did sneeze on you. I'm sorry, Bren. I apologize here. I don't actually have a rag to rub. You got the COVIDs. All you guys got the COVIDs now, right? Yeah. You can't believe I'm sneezing. How dare you? Yeah, without a mask on. This is a mask. Aren't we all wearing a mask? Isn't the pain that we're all feeling a mask? Isn't it? Actually, it's not. Pain is usually what's opening that mask, but it was still funny little thing there. Guys, I released a video today, and it got booted within seconds. And it's funny, the very first countries that come in that said it's not allowed here were all the independent countries. Syria, North Korea, Iran, 2 more. Somalia? And, Somalia is over there going, oh, we need to stop this video from coming in here. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about some stuff. And I think the title of this episode, if it got updated correctly, was Aquarius. Episode 202, Aquarius. We do not change Babylon by asking Babylon to change. We change Babylon by witnessing something different inside of her. It's giving birth. Babylon doesn't hate you. Babylon loves you. Babylon needs you. Babylon will do anything to keep your witness. All we have to do is change what we choose to see, and Babylon will instantly start to feed that witness. It's true. And I can't think of a better way to do this via education. In fact, if you were to look at all the books I've written 5 books, you could look at all of my efforts being deemed in the category category. In fact, if you buy The Technology of Belief from me, signed by the author, it comes with a magnet that says there is much to unlearn. And it truly is where we're at. There is so much to unlearn. And it's not about being foolish. It's not about learning the wrong things. It's about being saturated with so much of the same thing. And I know many of you have seen this before, but I want to get the resonance in your head, please. So please.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
And this is going to keep going.
Hi, I'm Fox.
It's just going to keep going. And some of you think, well, that's just the television. And it's not. It's not. As our own beautiful Gaia Bear so eloquently put together a post this week. I could not like because I am in Facebook jail for a week. Thank you, Slava Squatch, little dickhead. I'm now in Facebook jail for a week. All because I believe in boundaries. Funny how it works that way. But anyway, this saturation of polarity, the saturation of that same Sinclair message is not just in video. That it's happening all across the board. People are stealing masks and other medical equipment from hospitals, New York government says. Cuomo New York hospitals reject Trump claims masks going out the back door. Two things, same polarity, right? Health experts say you should still close your business and stay indoors unless it's to protest. Police stations and other buildings, these are peaceful protests, as you can see, as a man is standing in front of a burning building. The police station burning in Minneapolis, as the same news tells you, these are peaceful protests, as you can see. FBI forced to debunk conspiracy theory that Antifa extremists set fires in Oregon. Breaking. Portland police arrest a man today suspected for starting a brush fire. Basically Antifa, right? Right after he was let go, he started 6 more fires. Little over an hour apart. Rally for Black Trans Lives draws packed crowd to Brooklyn Museum Place, says NBC News. NBC News. President Trump's plans to rally support next for the first time since most of the country shuttered by the coronavirus, but health experts are questioning that decision. It's an hour apart. Same news outlet. Exact same news outlet. Again, thank you again, Jessica, for putting these together. Israel has the right and obligation to defend its borders with deadly force. And it's time to calm down about the caravan. Two totally different messages. Everyone should have a shot at paid family leave. Number 2, Trump's budget to include paid family leave. 8 days later, how paid family leave hurts women. Fiery but mostly peaceful protests after police shooting as a guy's wearing goggles and headgear while he's going in to film a riot. Physicians have joined protests in cities across the country. An open letter signed by 1,200 health professionals saying protests should not be shut down for fears of COVID. Same magazine, same paper. Hundreds of far-right protesters defy COVID-19 restrictions to demonstrate in London. CNN, an 11-year-old white girl is charged with hate crime after 10-year-old African-American girl was subject to racially motivated language. A white Arkansas man is facing up to 20 years of prison after being found guilty in beating of an African-American man during racially charged protests. A white teen was allegedly plotted at attacking a historical black church in Georgia with knives. And police have charged a 25-year-old man with first-degree murder after they say he shot and killed a 5-year-old boy last week in Wilson, North Carolina. Kamala Harris may have Timberland boots cool again. Melania Trump gets mocked for wearing Timberland boots while visiting the troops. The support of our Trump baby balloon has been so massive we're going global, says the Metro. The Metro, flying the Sadiq Khan balloon is not an exercise of free speech. It's a party for bigots. Beautiful, peaceful, and diverse, thousands of protesters flood streets near White House. Sane news outlet extraordinarily dangerous. Trump rally draws grave concerns from top health officials. Trump says Philly's murder rate is terribly increasing. It's not. And same outlet, as most crime decreases, Philly records highest year in homicidal totals since 2012. Both those were in 2017. Trump's baseless wiretap claim. Trump's flat out lied. And exclusive U.S. government wiretap former Trump campaign. It's wrong to blame Somali Americans for the Ohio State attacks. After Christchurch, we need more blame, not less. Right? The polarity is strong. 11, 12, 12. First, very good reasons to keep the Electoral College. And finally, the Electoral College is an instrument of white supremacy and sexism. Guys, every one of those media outlets told you that this much aluminum, an aluminum can this thick, brought down two of the tallest, largest buildings ever constructed, built from the most concrete fortified outer shell ever conceived for a building. And it's all.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities.
It's all from the same group. And the dissonance has been strong. And if you guys remember back in March 18th,
the U.S. government announced today that Comfort will go to New York City, where it will take up station in New York Harbor. Mercy will likely go to a similar metropolis on the West Coast, with likely candidates including Seattle, the San Francisco Bay Area, and Los Angeles.
Do you remember the two Navy ships built in the 80s here to save us from COVID? And they're both Red Crosses. They're Templar crosses.
A look at the U.S. Navy hospital ship sent to battle the coronavirus.
Two towers.
The U.S.
Two
Navy
ships,
is
two
activating
towers.
its two hospital ships, the
Mercy
USNS Mercy and USNS Comfort.
And the Comfort, you could look at as two towers. And one goes to New York and the other goes to L.A. And they set forth a ritual. And this happened on March 18th. This was 4 days before the 22nd, which is when the presidential seal disappeared. Please go back in the live streams. You will see I showed you every press conference where it's gone. For 6 press conferences in a row, the seal was gone. The seal of the presidency was gone. And it was during this same ritual. In fact, a lot of you found me because of this. Richie from Boston thought it was safe to have me on then, but then never thereafter. Owen Benjamin thought it was safe to have me on, but now it's dangerous because I am the dangerous one. Hurting the world, I am that one. You have to be careful who you share, they say. Because the dissonance and the polarity is so strong that you can't. This has been, I don't know, hopefully we'll get through the broadcast here.
People have a lot of misconceptions about California.
I want you to see this because I want you to see how polarity, just like Jessica showed you with all these news clippings. The Sinclarity piece, that it's polarity that starts this spell.
People have a lot of misconceptions about California, but none of them are really true.
None of them.
They think we're all surfers.
Or celebrities. That we're all into yoga.
And that everyone owns a winery.
Or skateboard. And that we all drive convertibles.
Where did they get these ideas? Like how we all live in bikinis and act like rock stars.
You want to know the truth about California?
Get out here. We'll show you how we roll.
It's just a mess out here.
Where is the poorest, dirtiest, most depressing slum in the world? In Haiti? India? Africa? Is that what this is?
No, I'm in America. One of the richest parts of America, highest rents in all of America.
People think life in California is all fun and games.
But it's really serious business.
We have board meetings.
Board meetings.
Lots of board meetings.
But as soon as you go on the freeway ramp, or if you get off the freeway ramp, it looks already totally different.
Well, there's a lot to tell. Los Angeles is a very, very crazy place. You come here and you come here and you get stuck.
We run with the big dogs. Everything's a huge production.
Encampments of street people everywhere.
Some pitch tents, planning to stay a long time. Some have mental problems.
Vampires are real and I'm paranoid as all hell.
So you need to put your mask on. You're gonna get sick, sir. I have a mask for you. Oh, and I also want to get. I have a mask.
I don't need it. I don't wear masks. I don't wear masks.
Sir, you need my mask, sir.
I don't wear masks. I don't wear masks.
He needs a mask. You guys are all gonna get sick.
Other street people complain about them.
They run around and they shout at themselves. They make it bad for people like us that hang out with a sign.
We're being taxed for living on certain streets. You have to pay. Basically drugs run most of Los Angeles itself, but especially Skid Row.
We're on the road a lot.
We're really just a bunch of pencil pushers.
We work with some real characters.
Hey, it's a dirty job.
But someone's got to do it.
Hey, bitch, stick that camera up your ass.
Some people shoot up in plain sight.
It's nasty seeing somebody actually shoot up drugs like right there. The police don't do anything about it. They'll get somebody for drinking a beer, but they'll walk right past people using needles.
Yeah, no. Panhandling. No. Hey, people spit at you, call you names, pour coffee on you.
Yeah, right. But you have to be ready for that. Like, and it gets to the point where it doesn't even matter. You don't care because you need it so bad. You know, and survival comes first. And we as human beings will do anything to survive. You know?
So if California seems like your kind of work,
We've got one question.
When can you start?
Start your trip at visitcalifornia.co.uk.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a very funny thing. Your shoes get stolen a lot while you're here. And who steals a homeless man's shoes? Your shoes can be completely worthless, and someone still takes them. And that's a really hard thing because you wake up in the morning and you've got no shoes. Now you got to walk around where people throw broken glass, people piss on the ground.
Guys, they tax the homeless by territorial. This is territorial dispute. Okay, it's if you. I tell you, believe it or not, there's a TV show called The Shield, and you should watch it because it actually shows how LA functions. This is a Serengeti on a human level. So you're asking how they're taxing you to be on the street. It's very simple. It's a territorial thing. It's the same way one drug gang will tax another drug gang to be on their corner. It's all metrics.
Cockroaches, and you gotta look for shoes, and that's very disheartening. That's one of the strangest things I've come across here. I've had shoes that are completely worthless and stink so bad somewhere, and someone still takes them. But
I want you to notice that right in the background, real life is happening. Like when I say real life, I'm talking about the life that you're probably more used to happening, and the energetic difference is literally 30 feet, just 30 feet of sentience between him and everyone else.
It's also sharpened me. I don't miss a beat. There isn't too much. I'm pretty in tune with everything and everyone around me. I'm a lot more aware than they are, I assume.
All the leaves are brown, and the sky is gray,
A new map shows just how dirty the streets of San Francisco are becoming. The map shows all the locations where human waste have been reported on San Francisco streets over the last 8 years. So take a look and you'll see it's pretty disgusting to look at. Well, it kind of makes the point, right? We've had more than 118,000 instances of human waste reported to the city. That includes an all-time high of more than 28,000 cases just last year.
If I was in LA,
at a point where I'm stuck. This is what I do. I become comfortable with it. I don't see no other way out. Like I said, I feel like I'm falling and never hitting a bottom, or at least hitting a bottom that's false. And every time I go to try to climb out, that bottom's pulled for me, and I fall more. If I could reach an absolute solid bottom, I might be able to climb out. But there is no real bottom, because it's always being pulled out from under you. You're always falling further.
What's your future like?
Notice the bottom's always being pulled out from under you. It's classic pit. Classic pit.
I'm not sure. That's in God's hands. God's in my hands, you know, because I do choose what I do, you know. But the opportunities that are out there are harder when you're homeless and when seen as homeless. And when you have to do this all day just to eat, you know.
Sadly, the gentleman who just shot that clip said something at the very end, and it got cut off. But what he said was he's a videographer that films all over the world, some of the worst slums in the world. And he's never, ever seen more pain than his time in LA. And this is...
The U.S. government announced today that Comfort will go to New York City, where it will take up station in New York Harbor.
Where we said
Mercy will likely go to a similar metropolis on the West Coast, with likely candidates including Seattle, the San Francisco Bay Area, and Los Angeles.
Seattle, San Francisco, and LA. The three places, the epicenters of all this. It's impossible to live in Portland without being given 100 needles in a bag by a city employee. You can't be homeless in Portland without being given 100 needles. San Francisco literally has poop maps. In LA, the most polarized city in the world, where even the homeless are taxed. Even the homeless have a problem with their shoes being stolen. It's the pit that keeps getting deeper. And I'm showing you this stuff not to make you feel bad, not to make you see how far we've fallen or all the other shit like that. You've had 201 episodes from me to see why the system is wired this way, why it works this way. I've begged you to see that there are no evil, satanic, Luciferian pedophiles, whatever you want to call them. I begged you to see that the psychopaths that we're afraid of are us. And that our collective evacuation creates a virtue signaling shitstorm, and that shitstorm can be focused inside of a city. And by applying the correct amount of dissonance, by applying the correct amount of polarity, the people in that city can beg and plead for that city to take away their immune system, for that city to take away their pride, to take away their ego, to take away their sexuality, to take away their masculinity, to take away their femininity, to take away the very essence of who they are. They will beg for it. A country run by the thoughts, ruminations, and fears of a collection of man-bear pigs. Man-bear pigs. Asking and consenting for more and more and more of the same. A society that believes that it's completely sane and normal that the average healthy baby receive 72 shots of toxic metallic, aborted animal parts. Animal parts that you can't see the recipe for, animal parts that have no liability against the person that makes them. And the reason why this has taken us so hard to see is because none of us can picture why or how this could happen underneath our own watch. And it's because we can't fathom how this could happen underneath our own watch that we're systemically insisting that it's not happening. And that everything has just been a misunderstanding, that everything has just been a bad vote here or a bad candidate there. And we've rejected every single thing the individual says in exchange for the collective. That there's a new sense of truth in the air, and it's what everyone feels, what everyone thinks, what everyone's been told. And we reward each other not for our wisdom, but for our ability to regurgitate what we were told perfectly. And that's what makes a doctor indoctrinated. That's what makes a nurse dance. That's what makes a teacher regurgitate. It's what makes a soldier shoot. It's what makes a policeman convict. Every one of these situations requires an evacuation. An evacuation to something bigger than ourselves, something that we think has more morality. And we've gotten so fucked up that we insist people like me who claim that morality comes from inside of you. We claim that people who say things like that are the problem. We claim that people like me are the reason why we can't seem to get our shit together. And I'm so glad that all that's gone. I'm so glad we moved out of 6 into 7. You could look at religion, at psychology, at the birth of consciousness itself as birthing itself through numbers, that there is all one. And then there is the first mitosis. There is the rapture inside what is all one. And from that rapture inside develops something profound, the triune brain. This center reptilian antenna core, this outer mammalian shell, and on top of that, this primate-like thinking structure. And the belief in self, the original I am, is the Trinity, the birth of three. It's a birth in three, the Trinity, the triune, who you are. And from that three, we start to notice the world around us. We notice that the world is a cross, that the world is a medicine wheel, that the world is a wheel inside a wheel inside a wheel, and it has 4 cardinal points. Just as we have 4 directions, just as we are made from 2 axes on a perpendicular, the tree of mortality, the tree of morality, that our understanding of 3, of the triune, of the I am, blossoms, it cracks itself open into the 4, and we develop paganism. We develop the belief in the cross. We make fire by rubbing 2 sticks. We learn to have strength in the winter at the resurrection of our Son. And the days get longer because of the cross, because we've measured, because our awareness and because our witness is focused on what's happening around us. And that 4, that number of 4, that cross, the 4 points, developed into the Pentecostal man, the Vitruvian man, the 5-pointed star. And we instantly started hating that star. We turned it upside down. We persecuted it. We called it evil. We did whatever we could. The whole concept of Puritanism was a direct result of this hunt, the Pentecostal man's hunt. It's this germ theory of what is inside me that is broken, what is inside me that's evil. And that Pentecostal man, that belief of 5, did just what it did from 3 to 4 and from 4 to 5. It went from 5 to 6, and you developed the Judaic model. Islam, Christian Judaism, the fleur-de-lis, that the trident itself erupted in our quest to destroy all that's evil inside of the Pentecostal man. And now you have 6. Now you have a Remphan. You have the Jewish notion. I can't even call it Jewish because it honestly predates that. It's a Kabbalistic notion. As above, so below. As within, so without. You're in the cube now. You have this belief that's been locked in a 6-sided box. And not only is it locked in there, it's locked in the entire essence of the world around you, because everything around you is carbon. You are carbon. That black, dirty footprint you're supposed to believe that carbon gives you is the essence of who you are. And it's this materialistic, akashic petrification where we've assigned these truths to be outside of ourselves, but locked inside this hard stone shell. And you're looking at dissonance. You're looking at the dissonance required to open it up.
The U.S. government announced today that Comfort will go to New York City, where it will take up station in New York.
And for 2,000 years, we've been living in that world of 6. The reason why you have that calendar, that it's 2020. Gee, oh, what a coincidence, right? That all of these systems have been set in place for you. They've all been told and foretold, because it's what we want when we let go of the steering wheel. That just like a jet ski, when you fall off a jet ski, it turns to the left or the right. I'm not sure which way, but it goes in a circle. It won't go far away. It will stay in a circle. It will circle around you. That is the essence of demonology working inside of you. That when you evacuate yourself, you're letting go of that jet ski handle and you're just doing circles. And you're fulfilling whatever obligation was built into that jet ski should you abandon your cockpit. What does the jet do when its pilot ejects from the cockpit? And what you're looking at is the answer. Worldwide, massive, dissonant trauma caused by evacuation. It's not caused by evil. It's not caused by this Pentecostal desire to find all things evil so you could feel all good about yourself. It's simply built in as a natural governor to hopefully make you wake the fuck up. And that when we develop electricity, we can see this evacuation ourselves. We can see how much pain we are causing others by not being sovereign. And we can overcome the shouts, all the other bullshit that you get, even trying to speak out right now, and truly find your core, find your center, and strike it like a bell. Define your authenticity. Boom. And create a new economy not built on scarcity. Salvation outside of yourself is a scarcity economy. Telling someone that morality is outside of themselves is a scarce morality. That all of this abundance, all of this resonance is inside of you, and it's been here the whole time. And that you don't need an evil puppet master to pretend to run from, to cling to victimhood, to dismiss your own responsibilities, because all of this happens through blind, empathic, virtue-signaled, prompted consent that is secreted from us like silk from a spider, and it happens whenever we leave. So stop leaving. Stop leaving. And the only way I can think of in my life, with the amount of calories and blood vessels and life force that I have left, and I don't know how much of that is, the only thing that I can come up with that would do the best with that amount of time is to create a new system, an Aquarian system that fixes this. And it's not even something unique. It's something that I've been doing, that many of you have been doing this whole time. And I'm hoping to convince you of it. I'm hoping to sway any of you that think James is the evil one, we have to fucking avoid him. I'm hoping to get you to look at it one more time and go, wait a minute. Fuck, that's a good idea. Last year we did new moon fires. We were awakening the land, and we awakened the land with a new moon, a new intention. And all of that magic happening during the waxing, the growing of the moon. As the moon grows, so too did we wax. Our intentions were waxing with that. And I'd like to see, now that we're in Aquarius, I'd like to see that ritual change from the intention to the release of, to the personification of what we can do. And our biggest problem we face is with all the bullshit we're taught. Parents need to unlearn, and children need to learn. Parents have just as much unlearning as children have learning to do. And it is the most irresponsible, dangerous, psychotic, sociopathic, narcissistic, selfish, in the bad word selfish, evil thing you could do for us to keep insisting that the government, the governtainment industry, should be in charge of our education. We have to do that. And homeschoolers have been doing that for a while. I've been watching them. I don't have kids, so I'm not homeschooling. I can only imagine by looking how much harder it is, how much more calories is involved, how much more fun it is, how much more exciting, enticing, how much more tiring and invigorating it is, how much more confident it is for a parent to take on that mantle and say, not only is it my job to educate my child, it is my job to uneducate my child, just as important. And I think we can do that through the art of storytelling. Because teachers regurgitate, parents tell stories. And that instead of us having a new moon fire every cycle, we can have a full moon stomp. We can have an expression of gnosis delivered over a fire, whether that be virtual, whether that be physical, whether it be both. And what I'd like to do is to change my channel a little bit to start providing more education, more real history. And personally, I'd like to focus on real American history. And on January 26th, the waxing of the full moon, I want to have delivered, because I want it to happen during the waxing, a presentation that I'm making purely for homeschoolers. Purely for people that either a parent who wants to unlearn or a child who wants to learn. A prepared potlatch. Something that I made at home and that I waited for a powwow and I delivered. I delivered to people with no expectations, with no exchange. I simply delivered it because it made me feel good. And if I can bring this on the waxing moon, maybe others will bring what they want to. And we can set a new clock, a new pendulum on the moon. And every full moon becomes a powwow of gnosis, a wisdom gathering, an Akashic stockpile. And we started a group on Facebook called Dojo Homeschool. I don't know what we're going to call it. Some of you are already mad with the word schooling because you want to call it unschooling. I totally respect that too. Let's just not lose our solidarity in the name. We will come up with a name that fits everyone. But I'd like for us to consider trying this in the age of Aquarius right now. Right now is the time to try this. And I invite you all to a planning meeting this Wednesday. Typically we have a dojo every afternoon at 12:30. It's after my live stream. On Wednesdays because we have a night dojo. And I would like to invite anyone who's interested in this powwow idea, in this homeschooling idea, to please come to this meeting Wednesday. It'll be a Zoom meeting at 12:30. I'll be announcing the link to that. In fact, there'll be a link in this description. And come to that and just hear these ideas. Hear how we're planning this idea. And if you've been to dojo, you already know what the classroom looks like. It's a very different kind of classroom. We've got a moderator, we've got a fire tender, and we've got a presenter. The moderator's there to field all questions, to help people that are learning to raise their hand, to interact. The fire tender is there to showcase why we're here. That we are lighting a new flame, that we are carrying this torch and educating. Think about the symbolism of the torchlight itself, of spreading that light for people in the cave. And I would love for it to be a focus on the things that you would never, ever, ever hear in school. And I'd like for us to see how many different tents we can erect on these full moons and see how they change every full moon. I'm going to be pushing this real American history tent. I'd like to do a talk about the true history of America, Amu Raka. Some of you guys have seen that. I want to add some things you haven't seen. Fanny Kelly, this settler who was told by her government, "Oh, go out west, settle, Fanny. The Indians love you. They're waiting for you now to trade." And her spending 9 months in captivity with the Sioux. Watching what it's like to see these two different factions of consciousness compete for life itself, compete for understanding, as this entire system of Wetiko is eating both of them. And that same system's never died. You're watching it in poop maps, you're watching it in LA, you're watching it in New York, you're watching it in Seattle, you're watching it in San Francisco. And once we start to unlearn and learn in the proper ways, these things become easier to see. And if anyone's participated in a dojo, you know that's the case because you have said to me, doing this kind of work changes me. It changes my ability. I have so much more compassion now. I have so much more calories. I'm no longer consenting to things blindly. I no longer see the I no longer see the folly, of dealing out niceties every day. That it's authenticity that our garden needs. It needs the authenticity, and we can bring that together. Every moon, we can bring that together. And I'm under the impression that after a few of these moons, James's presentation in the Real History Tent will be completely blown away by someone else's presentation, and that every single time we have a fire, that Real History Tent will grow. It will have more presenters. All the homeschooling tents will. I'd love to see cooking. I'd love to see geology. I'd love to see religion, math. Wouldn't it be great to have some of your YouTube people like Marty Leeds, even Benjamin Boulderson, coming in and doing their talks and contributing, bringing the potlatch to the stomp to make an Aquarian Academy, to create this new system of potlatch learning. There's not an enrollment, there's not a tuition. It's simply a free download, like Akasha. It's simply there waiting. And I would love for you to join and help out with this. Make it better than I've even thought about it. This is not my idea. This is the Aquarius talking. It's the age of Aquarius, and we need to act like it. And that means we have to be in charge of bearing the water. We are Nindawan, the torch carriers, and we have an opportunity and an obligation to fix what our evacuation has caused. Because just like we are blessed by our ancestors with the gifts they bring us, so too are we indebted by the deficits that they leave us with, whether it be epigenetic trauma or whether it be mass systemic self-evacuation because you fell for the dissonance of lies. This is an opportunity, and it doesn't have to be with James True. If you want to go do it with Owen or with whoever else who's decided I'm an evil bad guy, that's fine. Do it. Do it. Because the only thing that's going to survive through all this is humanity. It's the only way it's going to happen, and that's going to be tribal. It's not going to be centralized. It's going to be united around a fire, not around an internet. It's going to be united under a moon, not under a fucking satellite. And that we are joined by the gnosis that we are out there, by the knowledge, by the fact that you know for sure that even in Scotland, and in England, even in California, in Canada, in Mexico, in Argentina, there are people that are writing me that say, I get that. I get you. You get me too. And that faith is enough. You don't need a Sinclair network to harness
Hi, I'm
that
Fox
kind
San
of power.
Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities.
This requires repetition, volume, speakers, copper, and a shitload of propaganda to sell. Nothing but just cash, 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 cash. That is that limited constriction, restriction economy. And the giving of wisdom is resonance. And it's truly the Aquarian. It's the 7. It's the moving out of 6 and into 7. And 7 is the actualized man, the Superman. All of your chakras are lit. Everything's open. You are a walking coat of many colors. All your pores are vibrating. And you're awake now. Come Wednesday if you can. If you want to come early, join the dojo, go on Facebook, join the group. Others are waiting. I cannot do anything on Facebook until next Monday. I think it's actually a blessing. I think if anything, we need to create more things off Facebook. We need to create, we don't need to. I think what would be the most powerful right now is you're looking at people that are afraid. They're scared because they're sending their kids back to school and they're reading these notes. They're seeing that 60% of healthcare practitioners are refusing the virus. And they don't see the alternative. And I'm telling you that with this Akashic Academy or the Stomp or whatever you want to call it, not only is this an alternative, we are showing people how much better this whole process of unlearning and learning can be. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. Imagine all the families working together on a presentation. Samantha, I don't know if you're listening, but I would love for you to do something about all you've done with your home farm. I know you're starting a farmer's market. This is the kind of stuff that people would love to witness and hear your story, hear what you're going through. This is some good stuff, guys. And it's resonant. This will take off, and it already has. This isn't my idea. It already has. Look at someone just said the Waldorf School. Look at the Waldorf School. It's a perfect example. You have all these people that are already working on this. We already want this, guys. This is just simply the allotment of calories. This is where I'm going to be spending my calories this year. And I hope you'll join me. Yeah, I'm not even going to address that burning tongue. Anybody have anything to say on that? I'm not going to use the word grievance right now. I'm going to beef with grievance. Just not going to say that right now. Yeah, definitely look into Steiner, Jeremy. Rudolf Steiner had a very similar idea about educational systems. It's definitely good to look at. In fact, I would love if someone were to bring that to the powwow. We could have one tent completely devoted to different educational methods, to different methods where people can learn. It's just an opportunity for different homeschoolers to say, yeah, we tried this, we tried this. Oh, God, terrible idea doing that, but try this. This is how we do it. We apply calories, rinse, repeat. Apply calories, rinse, repeat. Gaia Hypothesis has posted a link to the Facebook group. I think she's an admin now. I accidentally checked her as mod. If so, she can add you to that group. Others can too. It's a public group. Please consider that. Don't worry if you're not on Facebook. We are other ways we'll be communicating. Of course, on JTrue, if you were to go to JTrue and join the dojo, you'd be getting all the meeting notes about this and everything else we talk about. Dojo members, please listen carefully. Some of you have been in dojo for a long time. And some of you have even said, James, I've learned all this stuff about the electricity, the personal electricity. I'm there. I need something more. I can't just talk about this or about that. I need something more. And my friends, this is that more. One of the things that worked really well in the wilderness camp, where I developed these techniques, and I say I don't even mean that. It's like the group of us did. I just brought them out of the woods. Is that as you have a task, as all of us in the tribe that we're living in the woods together have the task of maintaining our camp, cooking breakfast. These are hard things to do with an 11-year-old. It's very difficult to get an 11-year-old to make breakfast. It's 12 times harder to make 12 11-year-olds make breakfast in the woods with no power or plumbing. It's very difficult. And you learn things. You learn tricks. You learn things that work and don't work. And one of the things that really secretes the vitriol, every night at group fire, where we did most of our growth, our personal growth. And that growth only came from the vitriol that was spit out during the day. And that day secreted vitriol because we had a task. We had something we were working on. So guys who've been in the dojo a while, I'd like for you to consider volunteering to do this. Dojo is still going to stay dojo. But I'd like for you to consider maybe throwing down. I think you could dedicate a day to this instead of dojo, and you'd be just as happy. And you would bring the vitriol that you experience, whether it be being nervous doing presentations, whether it be the anger you found when you researched something and found out it's wrong, whether it be the rebuke you sought when you tried to bring up what you found out to an educator. All that stuff is perfect fodder to come back to dojo with. In fact, that is the vitriol that's being secreted that gives you that next level, that level that you're hungry for. It's a challenge. It's a beautiful challenge because it's a deadline, the waxing moon. It's a beautiful challenge where the earth, the land itself, is daring you to do something different with the Aquarius. So do something different. Try this out. We can help you with your presentations. We can help you with tutors. We can help you find volunteers. You're going to need a fire tender. You're going to need a moderator. You definitely want a moderator. The moderator basically is going to run the session. When you come in to do your presentation, they're going to introduce you. If you want a presentation in which others are involved, you have questions or whatever, this is your presentation. You get to decide how you want to run the tent. The moderator is there to serve you, to help you with that. They're also there to record your presentation. Others can watch that from the Akashic Record. The fire tender's there to set the somber, beautiful word somber, by the way. We need to talk about that one day. But to set the mood to where we set the right tempo going into this ritual. All these things would be a build up through the waxing moon, and then we could sort of like publish, not only sort of, we'd publish everything, but we could also have like some things out to kind of showcase to people to see if they will bring something next time to the potlatch, just to see what can be created out of a system like this. I hope this has been entertaining hearing about this, and I hope even more that you will consider doing this. If you're too shy to do a presentation, help us with medicine bags. We are giving participants something that can hold prana to remind them of what they've done. We would love to have a committee that helps us with that. We need committees to help us even find more people. Ideally, what would be happening is every full moon, someone is hosting a physical fire somewhere on that full moon. It's kind of like a closing ceremony to what all we've done. So even if you haven't done a presentation, but you would love to host a fire physically for some people that are of like minds, you could do that. You could contact us. We'll be in touch. We'll have volunteer coordinator to work with you, and we can help create these events. So it's, again, fire starting. Beautiful, beautiful model. Imagine the light from that torch. How much people are going to be able to see because of that. It's the perfect symbol. It's why we're here. This whole Promethean thing. You guys, stop believing that the Statue of Liberty was built by France. They did not have the capability of raising that much copper that high, I'm telling you. This Prometheus is part of Dojo Earth. It's part of why you're here. It's why the mercy and the comfort here. It's why all this dissonance is necessary to secrete your desire for an Aquarian age. Do you understand? I am only here because of how shitty things have been. If things weren't shitty, I'd be sitting here playing in some stupid love triangle, or who knows, God knows what. It's only because of the dissonance that's causing me to even be motivated. So I'm going to thank that dissonance. I'm going to bow to my opponent and say, bring it. Let's do this. Let's see what Aquarius has got for us. Because I am sick of this.
Sir, you need to put your mask on. You're gonna get sick, sir. I have a mask for you. Oh, and I also want to get. I have a mask.
I don't use it. I don't wear masks. I don't wear masks.
Sir, you need my mask, sir.
I don't wear masks.
These people are homeless too. That guy. He's homeless too. He's sucking on the teat of the machine, and that rusty stuff is getting all in his drinkers. Guys, take care. Please consider joining us on this endeavor. If anyone has any trouble or any kind of problem with signing up, or if you think that the dojo should be free right now or whatever, please write me. You will notice that we have a lot of potlatch to go around. We can help people connect and bring this. Let's make this happen. Let's make a kick-ass Aquarius Age. Let's do it, all right? Dojo today, moderated by the lovely Lorna Hartley. Looking forward to that. Special shout out to Adam. I hope you come today. I really want to hear what happened to you. Guys, the Babylon is making it that much harder to stay, and that's exactly what we need. And all of us are reimagining ourselves every day. There's Woodwoes. Great to see you, Woodwoes. Great to see you. Speaking of which, Woodwoes has reminded me, I haven't emptied a treasure. Is there a treasure chest here? Is there? Let's see. I'm gonna distribute rewards there. The treasure chest is being, Woodwoes, in honor of Woodwoes, the treasure chest is being released. So there you go. All right, guys. If you make it to dojo, hope to see you. And yeah, check the description. Say hi. Don't talk to me on Facebook. I'm in jail. And even that's a blessing. James out.